calling because I couldn't get into the laptop down here at Seabed, right? So I was looking for Scott's number. I got it from Nada, so I'm all set.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
I'll see you in a few.
okay, thanks.
Bye.
Hi, Anthony. Hi. I'm fine. How are you? Huh? No, I just. Oh. I live in up here. I live in the back. Hello, Steve.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Okay, if I turn the light on?
Yeah, please do. I just hadn't got the
Okay.
chairs.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Can we get everybody on board here?
I think I might go get a chair to prop that door open.
It is unlocked.
Huh?
It is unlocked. The door is unlocked.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems slow. Here you go. And restrooms are right there. You need it. What's that? No. These company? They move that. Oh, God. Chair. I don't know, we're gonna find out. This is the first time they've had it over here since they've started meeting in person. And usually there's a good crowd. Some of the commissioners will be online, so you can watch them through the TV. Well, yeah. See, there we are.
How many people,
Now they're coming, people are coming.
how many people are on this side?
Huh?
How many people on this side? How many people?
Well, there's 76.
Hi.
We have families down below.
Little,
Up here. Hello. Do you have any agendas? To pass out?
I do not.
Oh, that is
Sorry
great.
about
It's a TV back car on it, but
that. I mean, I may have one actually in bed.
I wish they would get the agenda up on the website again.
It is up there today. I went up today,
Of course, I forgot.
right on the front page too.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
It says a button that says agenda, you click on it, it goes right to it.
Oh,
Um,
is, the, Phillipsburg Tenant Association up there on the top?
They're on here, there's a few, well, a few people on here from, oh,
We had requested to be right around where the public tenant common period is.
yes, you're on there.
Oh, my God. Why are you so tired?
yeah. I ate a big thing of cream wheat. Yeah, I was craving it so bad.
Really?
Oh my God, I love cream of wheat.
Oh,
When you make it,
I hate oatmeal.
when you make it lumpy, like you let it get lumpy.
Yeah, do you remember that cereal? You know, when we were young.
What was that? Many years ago.
With this kids, it was a cartoon kids,
Yeah.
and I just remember it. and Yeah, they had a picture on the front of the.
I'm sorry, yes.
Oh, yeah, sure.
How are you?
That's okay.
Good to see
It wasn't
you.
oatmeal, it was like a wheat or cream wheat. It was sweet.
Ed couldn't get on, so we sent it. Elaine.
Hi.
Hi, Janice.
Okay, I saw, I'm not on the video or something.
Open
You
your
haven't let me, you won't let me on the video, it says.
No, you have to open your video.
Um,
The little down the lower left corner. No, I'm sorry, you want to see the upper right corner,
yeah,
and if you click on those three buttons, a little menu comes up. And one of them should say start
Yeah,
video.
they're doing it from Zoom.
it says webinar settings, disconnect,
Oh,
chat.
that might be them. They were debating whether, come person.
Cheryl, are you there?
I'm here, Steve.
Can you turn on your video?
No, it says that host has stopped recording.
Yeah, that's what mine said as well.
The host says what?
Not
Not
recording.
recording.
It says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
The
The host has disabled it, is what it says.
After I
Okay, let
said
me
she
find
wants.
where that is.
The Celtics are on tonight.
Mine said stopped.
You think they're gonna win?
Yeah.
What, the tribe and.
They gotta win the next two.
Okay. You think, it's like Thanksgiving every day, right? Let's say every time you have turkey, you big dinner, you can fall asleep.
And she will win it. Curled up in a ball with baby.
You're such a troublemaker, Nancy.
I hope so.
Yeah, right.
Good all my life to do, stay on my son and stay alive. How you doing, Jess?
I'm good. How are you doing? Hi, Dad. Hi. I forgot to look, the agenda is on the website today, of course, I forgot to look at it.
For this,
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I got it from Cheryl. Didn't you get that email from Cheryl?
No, you're the big kahuna. You did all that stuff.
Sure. No, but she said Sue and Jessica and then.
No, I didn't get it.
Okay.
That's yours.
Yeah, I have it. I just, she only sent me the, I didn't did anything else, but that's okay.
Okay.
I don't need anything else, so. it doesn't matter.
All right.
Janice Bennett is in twice. Ed is not in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, we're number one.
I'm gonna
We're
put crackers.
Yeah, I know.
So
I,
you're gonna have to pay another.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I was gonna talk about,
Gotta get my order.
He really wanna call.
you could, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. too.
Yeah,
And then,
Oh,
what were you gonna talk about? You can talk about whatever you want to, I was gonna, what I went over at the meeting.
yeah, I know.
Do it basically, yeah, so, yeah, no problem.
Like back.
I mean, if you want to use hers in the residence spot, I mean, it's all together anyway, but.
Yeah, of course.
That was
Right, so.
Yeah.
And we just put the right.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
The video.
I can see if I can find anything online.
And I got Nada's email.
Oh, I thought I had a pen in here, I don't have something.
I might have. an extra.
No, I haven't, I'm like, I know I haven't.
Oh, yeah, you can't, you know, Sue called. You gotta grab a chair. Maybe.
They got me for a wash on that day.
Yeah.
There's. Oh, not getting.
And it says, well, this is just, I have no idea if this is relevant to this, but let's see, to enable participants video, click the toggle and the enable participants video window, click enable.
Oh, yeah, that's good, okay. Where'd you get this on? Oh, that's good. This is how it is. Yeah.
Gotta get more.
So the seven.
Setting, click the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 minutes ago.
Just normally.
I know.
Probably did when you-
Everything that says-
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think. I think I will.
No, but, yeah, it's on.
Come on.
Well, scroll it, like if you scroll. down,
Yeah,
that
I
says-
just turned that on.
Yeah, oh, okay, all right.
You mind if I sit up at the table?
I don't think, yeah, sure, I don't think anyone else is going.
What's the deal with more than-
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, comfortable.
Yeah.
That is- I am, but I think right, well, I have this. Maybe I'll look next to you.
Sure. You could try turning- you could try turning your video on again.
Yes.
Yeah. Steve,
Yeah.
I get a message. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
It's disabled.
Then well, I say stop. And yours say disabled, mine says stop.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And then when I hit the record button, it just says, please ask the host to give you permission to record. I can't share my screen. That's out. And I can mute. I can mute and unmute. That's it, but the problem seems to lie with the video, starting the video. And then if I go to those three little buttons, I can choose my video back, virtual background. That's about it. I could hide self view. No. Nope. Ooh. That's not good. And go out and come back in. Save.
Penny, are you there? Hello, anybody?
I can hear you, but I can't
Thank you,
see,
Gary.
you can't see me. It won't allow
No,
me to
please.
stop my video.
You what? Won't allow you, yeah, I know.
It won't let,
Try
but
to-
I can hear you. And see, I can see you guys.
Janice, are you there? Penny, are you there? We can't start until they're there.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay, there you
great.
go. And
So now,
Cheryl should be coming in too.
Penny, are you there?
I'm here, but I don't have video.
Okay. And is Ed?
And
gonna
Ed
get
is
on?
unable to sign in. It says it won't work. Whatever he received is not opening.
You still have to be on together.
Oh, the joke?
Yeah. Here's Cheryl.
For some of the good times, we'll
Yes.
just-
I have no idea.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I mean, so we, I mean, we,
Okay.
if Janice and Penny can hear and can talk, we can start.
And Ed can come in and listen with me, but we can't get, his is not opening. It says that the address is wrong.
I'm the same with everybody.
Maybe so when Ed is there, can you let me know? So then we'll
Yes,
start.
he's here. He's sitting beside me.
Okay, great.
Yeah, are you gonna be able to get residents who call in?
They're
Yeah.
here, yeah, I see them, so.
Okay. All right. So, hi, everybody. I'm Eleanor Evans. I'm the vice chair of the News and Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. Reg is out of town. Actually, I think he's out of the country even. And so I'm going to call this meeting to order at about, what time is it? 7:44. And so Eleanor Evans, vice chair, present. Janice, can you just indicate your presence?
I am present. Can you hear?
Yep, Penny, can you tell whether?
Penny Kirk, present.
Ed Scheidler present.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so adequate notice has been provided up by the Secretary of the Needham Housing Authority by preparing a public notice dated June 13th, 2022, setting forth the date, time, and place of this meeting, and that notice was filed with the town clerk. And pursuant to the Governor Baker's emergency order and state legislation, we are holding this meeting somewhat unsuccessfully as a hybrid meeting. But I believe we next have to switch to in-person next month, or what's the?
Right now, I think July 15th
July
is the deadline, but that's subject
It
to
might-
change.
Okay, subject to change. So stay tuned. This is a work in progress, but at least we have residents here, and Steve and I are here in person, and we have other folks online. So announcements from the chair. I don't have any particular announcements other than what I just mentioned. So I think we will turn now to resident and community input and start with the Cooks Bridge Tenant Association.
Have a good evening. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you.
Oh, can you
for-
just introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Jessica Reese, resident of Captain Robert Cook Drive. I'm the president of our Cooks Bridge Tenants Association. We last month that agreed to give us a spot just to kind of go over what we went over through for our meetings, and last night, or Tuesday, excuse me, had our meeting, and we just went over some of the things that we were not able to go over at the last meeting regarding the Mass Union meeting, that Janice, her part of it was the security part of it. She went over that. We have 2 grants coming from the Needham Community Farm, and we have a date for this Tuesday coming up to have a meeting up here at Seabeds to talk with the residents of how they're going to use their grant, because it has to be spent by the end of the year. Captain Robert Cook has a different grant that has to be started to be spent by the end of the year. So we're gonna do a separate meeting with them, with the residents and families down there at some point, but that was one thing. We went over our pet policy. What else? We went over the self-sufficiency program that we're gonna be speaking with NHA about tomorrow, just to kind of get some more information really, and I think that's it, right? I had to leave early, so, but Sue can finish for us.
Sue, you're right, yeah. I'm Sue Biazizo, treasurer of the Cookbridge Tenants Association. And after Janice left, I did mention a little bit about the FSS, which is the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, which Needham Housing does not have. And I know it's a big project, but I figured I gotta get some more information, and Jess and I, we always meet with NADA. We try to, a couple of days after each meeting. And maybe at some point, this might be something Cheryl would want to get involved in. Gotta find out. I think we had one before, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, and then we also, on June 28th, we're gonna have a special meeting for people to understand their leases, which are different from the amendments that we have done every year. So I will have, you know, I would recommend that they bring their own, but if they can't, I have copies of the federal lease. And that is it. Janice did mention, she did answer a couple of questions that she had been asked. She came as a resident. And she did mention, you know, some information about, well, I call it modernization. And she was able to answer some questions that she had been asked by, you know, many residents. And she also had spoken somewhat about the safety and some scams that she got from the Mass Union Spring Convention a couple months ago. And that is it. So, yeah.
Okay, other resident.
I'm gonna just offer, just being familiar with the FSS program, you understand it's a program for Section 8 participants.
And public housing. It's
Okay.
federal, yeah.
I know it's
just
federal.
read- I read
It's
that
for
too.
Section 8 participants.
Right, but
That's what
no,
it's for. I had a section, I had one. in
I have it
the
right there.
Well, I just,
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure I know you, I
So
figured
you know,
Norwood would.
but what we have, been voted to apply for our federal properties is a Ross service coordinator. So we'll be looking to apply for that, because there is no available. And, we've hired a consultant, we voted the board at their last meeting. So that process begins, and, the deadline, I think, is July 18th.
Okay,
And then it usually takes 3 to 6 months to hear.
Yeah.
But that's the one that's appropriate for what we call conventional public housing.
okay, I think that might be in the package that I
Probably.
pulled off, so.
Okay, so that's,
I have my hand raised.
sorry about that, but
Yes, Janet? Yes, Janet?
Yeah. I actually participated in, it's actually called the Self-Sufficiency Initiative Program, and I actually participated it starting June 2019. But then came the shutdown in March. I was actually, the Housing Authority actually opposed me to participate. And I put in a grievance, and my grievance officer was Cynthia Howe, but who disagreed with the decision, but I actually had a great lawyer from the people in Framingham, and
Metro West.
Mass Legal Metro West.
yes, and they actually determined that I was eligible regardless because of my earned income disregard. So I was able to partake in the program. But come the shutdown 2020, I was kind of cut off from that because I was a 1099 gig economy worker, and because I was collecting unemployment, it was not earned income. So it ended for me there. And I wish somebody really would look into the program, because they say you can only do it once in your house, once,
And I'm
you know,
saying,
once in your lifetime of being in public housing, okay? And so I believe, I don't think it's you have to belong to a self-serving participant housing authority. I mean, like, not go to your nearest participating dealer. I think it's a federal program, which every housing authority is available to have. I mean, so
maybe-
I think some more information needs to be had. Because I
So,
think
yeah.
it's a great program. Don't get me wrong, sorry, Eleanor, but it's a great starter program for kids that have worked during their college years, and to come and use that program to get up and out, if they have a degree. It's a fascinating program, and if it's not available, we should make it available.
So maybe we could, I mean, you could collect the information and share it with Steve and the board, and we can review it
I have a
then.
question real quick. You said it was for not public housing residents, just section 8?
Section 8 participants.
Because it says the FSS program is available for public housing residents, housing choice voucher program participants.
Right.
I don't know what residents of NAHASAV, which is assisted housing, and recently residents of project-based rental projects.
So
I
I
don't
guess,
know where you
I
got it.
will look into it further, but to my knowledge, it's only eligible.
Yeah, I don't know where
Section 8
Sue got this. I don't know where you printed it out, but that's what Sue had. So,
yeah, so if you guys could gather.
yeah.
Yeah, we will. We could.
and give it, that would be great, because it would be good to know if there is a program.
Plus we've got two neighborhoods, two big neighborhoods.
Right, oh,
And
no,
we're not even sure if, I'm not even sure if elderly and disabled people might be able to participate in it. I don't know. I couldn't find the answer, but I'll never find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say one more thing. What I've learned is public housing authorities are not required to let people know about these programs. I learned that at Mass Union Convention 17 years ago. So, and I still think it's true.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see if maybe we could just
we
see.
have Ross.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so you can, I'm having trouble seeing there. Okay, so.
Ross, can you hear us?
There we go.
Hello,
You
Ross?
should-
Yeah,
you-
Am
Okay,
I?
there you go.
you're unmuted.
All right. Thank you. I was glad to hear that some matters on the regarding the mission statement are going to be discussed. 3 years ago, when we went through the whole interview process, the number one mission statement was to be the best landlord. And the second one was to do long-range strategic planning. And I really think we need to sort of move some sort of resident-centered approach. I even like that approach. You know, in schools, it's student-centered. In hospitals, it's patient-centered. In public housing, it should be resident-centered. And that would lead to things like maybe a resident advisory board, if not an LTO, for Linden Chambers. But a resident advisory board could be something a little bit easier to do for business and pleasure. Right now, Isabella from Springwell is leaving. So we don't have that component of social services. And somebody did, we've had a lot of newcomers, and somebody suggested that it would be a good idea if we're going to have some party, barbecue, music thing, that it be a newcomers event. That newcomers, we go out of our way to invite the newcomers to show up and get to know the neighbors. Okay, let's see. On another whole front, I'm a little concerned about waste management in a sense, and there's also this attitude of just throwing things away. Mary Ellen Richardson called up the office to see if we couldn't get the a picnic table repaired. The maintenance people came out, chopped it up and threw it away. You know, that's no solution. We have an opportunity for the food waste to energy recycling. You know, we've got a tremendous source of food. If we could get the RTS to maybe work together on that, as well as composting. You know, we really need to get, so if we're gonna have gardens and so forth, we really should have some composting. And also, just to complete the cycle, a good landlord should probably consider disposals, you know, where and how that might be used. Let's see, on another topic, I was very happy to hear about some, maybe, I don't know how you're going to handle it, but a cooling program, the air conditioner program, just to call all the residents is a really good idea to find out how they're holding up with the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. And sometimes it leads to some things like they can't open the windows because their hands may be weak or something like that. But it also relates to the energy plan that the Housing Authority is supposed to have in place. One year that I spoke with Gary and Angie about it, they didn't have anything to say about it. You know, they're just not interested. So if there were a residents advisory board, maybe a group like that could spearhead it. You know, the town meeting has claimed climate change to be an emergency. And so we should respect that. We're getting a lot of money from the town. We should help with that. Landscaping needs some direction. As my final thought here, two thoughts. We've had the fourth mowing today, and you know, I'm critical of it. It could be better. Could be better for the residents. Could be better for the landscaping, the ecology, and the whole thing. But that's going to take some work and some discussion, and it could be beneficial and less costly. Don't think. And related to that, the town sewer and water is sewer and drains or whatever it is doing a drain clearing project right next to the Housing Authority property between Housing Authority and Maple Street. It's actually on the back part of the Maple Street properties. But it runs almost the whole length of the cluster housing.
That it's very effective.
Buildings.
Okay. Anyway, that's a project, and they're going to be doing things that we're probably going to have to do farther upstream, the drains that go underneath the parking lot and around the brick buildings. Right now, it's part of the maintenance problem. The drains are being clogged up by the maintenance people just pushing all the organic material into the gutter, into the drain. It's a surface drain. It's supposed to be clear anyway, but that's something that in July, the engineering department is going to be overseeing that work.
Okay,
I just want to
thanks,
respond.
Steve.
Don, Ross, I just want to respond to the last one. I did meet with Mike Gretzky last week, I spoke with him, and he is shepherding that project for the DPW. I've worked with Mike before on a project, so it was good to catch up with him, and we're going to learn more about it as the weeks go on. We didn't have a whole lot of time to go do a site visit, but he's going to kind of show me what's going on and what if anything we need to do. And his contract will be on alert to let us know if there's anything that we're not doing that needs to get done on our side. So
Yeah.
we are addressing that. I mean, they haven't started work and won't until July, but I did have a conversation with Mike.
Okay, can I just say one thing to Ross?
Yeah.
Hi, Ross.
Hey,
With regard to try and get a recognized tent organization over, excuse me, at Linden Chambers. I think you said a meeting or two ago that you had contacted Jack over at Mass Union. You need to get in touch with his right-hand person, Margarita Morales.
right. Yep.
she
She's
is-
worked with the prior group before here, 10 years
She is
ago.
willing to come out to Linden Chambers.
Wonderful.
If you can get your people, I would help. If you can, get some people that are interested, seriously interested, I'm speaking of,
Mhm.
Marguerite will give you every attention that you need. So,
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
okay.
Thank you. Anybody else here? Yes.
What is the purpose of the dredging of that stream?
That stream, Linden Chamber, it's it hasn't been done in a while, I guess. It's not our stream, it's the town, so this is a fully town Needham project, and I'm not up to speed, as I said.
So it doesn't, it's not a reflection on it.
It's not a reflection, it's just it's been a long time since they did anything. And we'll have more information when I get to meet with Mike and go see the site, but it has nothing to do with that. Doesn't have anything to do with us grass cutting either. So. It's just, but it's just, thank you.
It looks like. Colorado.
Oh, okay,
Oh, no, is that? No.
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 No, that's.
Okay, I just, you had it there. Anybody else here have anything? Anybody else online? Last chance to raise your hand. Okay.
I made it kind of late, so I don't know what the topics have been about.
We're just talking about
Resident comment, so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, moving on to our discussion and approval items. We have for review and approval, the NHA bill and check warrant. And
When they talk about the fiscal year, it's really till the end of June, correct? The new one, July 1st?
No, our fiscal year is January 1st to December 31st.
Okay.
The state fiscal year is July 1 through 30, but we're the regular fiscal calendar years.
let's see, so. Okay, you should have tabbed this before. I'm not as smooth as Reg at finding what I'm.
Well, I will
looking for.
apologize. Normally Cheryl would be here with us as well, and she's been doing this longer than I have. in this format. I've been doing it for a long time, but not in this format. Cheryl has been out on leave for a little while. She's with us tonight to help us get through this, but she was not able to join us.
Okay, so we're looking at, this is the
That's the
resolution, right?
resolution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Cheryl, jump in anytime if you.
Yes, I'm
Can
a
you
little.
tell me what? Oh, yeah, here we go. So, go ahead, sure.
Did you find it, Eleanor?
Yeah, I see. Okay, so on page. On
Page
five.
2? 3.
Yeah, I mean, so page 3 is resolution, which is to, let's see, so, do I make the motion? So
No,
now,
you asked for
yeah,
it.
can I have a motion to approve the payment of the bill check roll listed on the warrant dated June 16th, 2022 in the amount of $469,055.02.
Second,
We have a motion maker first.
So I make a motion.
oh, second,
No, can someone say so moved? And then someone else
Moved.
says second.
So moved.
Okay,
Penny
now-
says so moved.
Alex says
Penny and
second.
Janet.
Okay. Okay,
we don't
any,
do so moved.
yeah, or
Just,
you can say,
Yeah.
Make a motion.
Because I know Reg tends to make motions and it's actually unusual for the chair to make motions in public meetings, so. It's usually done by another member and seconded by a third member, and then the chair rules on the motion, so. We're back to that at this point, because that's what I've been doing for 30 years. I think that's what
Oh,
Ellen-
God.
it's okay, it's not, I mean, it's fine for what we've been doing, but we'll
Yeah,
just do it.
it's
Into
fine.
the whole format.
Yeah, okay, so we have, somebody made the motion, it's been duly seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Excuse
Aye.
me, Commissioner, Vice Chair, you do have to
Yes.
roll call the commissioners, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, let's see, I'll start,
Baker,
Janet,
aye.
Ed Scheidler, aye.
Janice,
Janice Bennett,
Eleanor Evans, I.
I have a
And-
question though. Are we developing this now, Cheryl? With
Sorry?
regard to Robert's rule? Did we
This
do-
is an open meeting law requirement that when members are participating remotely, the roll is you roll call the members for all votes. Right, Steve?
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
that's
That's
new
right.
the past couple of months, so I was just wondering.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay,
Thank you.
so we all were in favor, so I take that as no no's or abstentions. So let's see. Four.
motion carried, vote was
Yeah,
unanimous.
Yes.
Um,
When you get to page
So
10,
now,
I have some questions.
Moving on. Oh, sorry, what?
When you get to page 10, I have some questions.
Right now, we're moving on to the High Rock Homes LLC bill and check warrant. So so I'm gonna read the motion and then I'll ask for the motion and someone says so moved and then someone else will say seconded. So may I have a motion to approve payments of the check roll listed on the warrant dated June 16, 2022 in the amount of $22,740.36.
so moved.
Okay.
Second,
So may I have a motion to approve the High Rock Homes LLC payment of the bill roll, check roll listed on the warrant dated June 16, 2022 in the amount of $22,740.36.
so moved.
Second,
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? And I'll have to
Aye.
roll call
Penny
it.
Kirk says aye.
Ed Scheidler, aye.
Janice Bennett,
Eleanor Evans, I. And there being none
Yes.
against, motion passes and.
Good.
Okay, now we're moving on to the board minutes. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 19th, 2022 Needham Housing Authority and High Rock Homes LLC and annual board meeting minutes.
So moved, Jenny Kirk.
Second.
Okay, all.
Oh, discussion.
Right, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call it for a vote. All in favor?
Jenny Kirk,
Janice
aye.
Bennett, I.
Ed Scheidler, aye.
Eleanor Evans, aye. Okay, motion passes. Alrighty, so now we're moving on to the executive director's report.
High Rock Homes,
I mean,
I'm sorry. Sorry, High Rock Homes LLC board meeting.
What page is that on?
This is the agenda, so.
I just have to vote here for the combined. It says,
Oh, it's combined?
yeah,
Okay. I'm sorry, that motion was combined.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
okay, so moving on.
Came in the door and I.
So moving on to the executive director's report.
What page is
Excuse
that?
me, guys. Oh, can't have a conversation going. Everybody can hear you. It goes over the speaker, so.
So the executive director's report, starting with the monthly financial report.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Can you tell us what that is, because the table of contents doesn't show the executive director's report.
It does.
sorry. Sorry, Ed.
Okay, what page are we looking at?
There is.
I turned to page 18, I believe. I don't know if that's where Steve wants to go.
I'm sorry, Ed. We didn't have the hard, or at least I did not have the hard copy of the executive director's monthly finance report at the time of the packet distribution. So I apologize for that.
It's not your fault.
And that's why it's not on the table of
So I don't
contents.
have it.
But I thought, I just assumed that Steve was going to give it orally.
So two things. One is the financial report, the monthly financial reports. Actually, the accountants were just in the office today, so the May 30th report will be on our next agenda. So this agenda would have had the April, but we actually went over them last month. What you have on page 18 is an analysis of our financial position from our accounting firm.
Right here.
Sorry?
Penny, are you guys?
I've got it, and I have
Okay.
one question.
Okay, so in the report, he goes down the state elderly program, talks about the receipts at 93% of the budget, expenses are at 86% of the budget. Ordinary maintenance, I think you all have this in front of you. I don't need to, unless you want me to, I don't think we have to read it, but it's page 18. And what it shows is our budgets are being taken care of. They're all within the parameters where they should be. Ordinary maintenance at our federal site is a little bit over the budgeted amount. And that's budget year to date. That's not the total budget, by the way. So we're at 103% of where we budgeted to be at this date as of April 30th. But some of our expenses are front loaded. We may had to buy items that we wouldn't have to buy later in the year. He shows on the federal program, he shows a net operating loss. That's really a misnomer. Well, we haven't lost any money. Our losses are made up through subsidies, so I'm not sure what Rick means by that. I haven't met with him. He doesn't come in our office. He has two accountants that work for him that do our reports. So he did indicate that he does want to speak to the board at some point, but he wasn't ready to do that this month. I think he was under the weather himself. Federal Section 8, we're in great shape there. Again, the loss is not a loss. I've never seen it expressed as a loss before. It's really the expenses are higher right now than they would have been. We're at 105% of budget, but with Section 8, operating expenses and really only come to play at the end of the year, and that's when things get adjusted and the actual amount is made. That's how the federal government works on our budgets. Management program. We're paying the consultant out of that program, but we're also getting some money back from the town Community Preservation Act for those expenses.
May I make an observation about the management program, please?
Yes.
I had discussed with Reg that there's no budget number entered in the management program covering our consultant fees. And so I discussed with him that it would be advantageous to have the same reporting for the consultant fees that we do for all of our other income and expenses. And he agreed with that. And so my question is, Steve, do you want to speak with Rick to add that in, the budget number in, or do you want me to contact him and ask him to include that?
No, I will speak with Rick, but as far as the we'll speak with Rick about it. I'm not sure how much they do on the accounting side of the management program, but I will get. But that doesn't mean we can't use the same format or a very similar format to it. I know Reg did bring it up in a meeting with Cambridge Housing Authority for them to put some of their items in more of a routine budgeting process. So we'll have that, but we'll work with Rick and Cambridge.
Okay.
I'm getting that.
Thank you very much.
If I could make a comment about accounting services as well, because we've had the audit on the High Rock Homes budget through Markham, and we'll be undergoing our annual audit in July with Markham. And in speaking with Markham, they are suggesting that we should look at re-procuring our accounting services going forward, which would, we procure for January 1st to include some of these extra things like that that you were asking for, and make sure they're included in the contract. So we have a few months to work on that and come up with a request for proposals, and which I would bring to the board first and consider going out for re-procuring the accounting. And it may be that Rick wants to do it, but right now his contract doesn't call out some of these things that the Needham Housing Authority is doing or looking to do in the next few years.
And just to clarify, that's for the fee accountant.
The
not
fee
the-
account,
not
yeah.
For the auditor.
No, it's for the fee account. And when I say Rick, it's Rick Shaw. He's the,
Yeah.
That's the lead of the fee accountants. Sorry.
Okay. Great. The monthly.
Yes.
Monthly management report, I understand you didn't, I think you got the full report, unfortunately. I didn't get it. So I'm going to just read some numbers to you. This is the monthly report we started last month, and I'll send it out to you. I just realized today when I was going over things that you didn't receive it in the packet completely. So it has a vacancy or occupancy report. And for the month of May, give you totals of vacant units is 14. That's as of May 31st. Those are in various degrees of being made ready. That's up 2 from last month. So there's been changes there as well. Work orders, we have a total of 155 work orders were written. That's not right, I didn't add up right, I'm sorry, 71. 76 work orders were written, 71 of them were complete. And again, that's of May 31st, and of the ones that weren't complete, those were written in the last day or two of the month, so that's kind of a normal carryover. Again, I'll mail this out to you tomorrow, but the public housing rents charged and received as of May 31st. We have a total of federal public housing, a total tenant rent bill of $72,606, a total collected of $69,3380 for a percentage of 95.08%. That's the number, Ed, that you had asked me to put in, so that's where that came out of. The here at Seabed's Way, we had just to break one out, we had a total rent bill of $19,522, and we had a collected of $19,522. So Seabed's Way had 100% rent collection. So we thank everyone, which is here that's on at their meeting. On the state program, we had a total of $44,290 billed and a total of $41,921 collected. So a percentage of 94.65%. Meaning we have a total of everyone of 94.92% of all rents billed for the month were collected. Any questions?
Did you say any questions?
That's from my board members.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I do have questions about page 10, but those are expenses, checks dated June 9th.
Okay,
Is
Go
that
ahead.
part of your report, Rick?
It can be, yeah, probably the best. Yeah, you've already voted on it.
So I should ask the questions now?
yeah,
Yes,
Okay, there's a plumbing and heating bill that was on Seabed's Way for $5,000. It just seemed, can you tell us what happened? Was
I'm
one
going to ask, Gary is on the phone with us. Gary, that's for Barry Smith Plumbing and Heating.
Right. Gary, you're muted.
There we go. So the Barry Smith, that's multiple units. That isn't just one. It should be in your check packet, like that shows the check runs. That's several locations. That wasn't just Seabeds. I don't know why it's listed as just Seabeds.
It says
But
unit
it was
31.
Yeah, I see that, but that is not what I don't know why it's labeled that. It was multiple places. There was places over at Seabeds. We did some work over at Linen Chambers and High Rocks. So there's multiple bills. I don't see the check run itself with the backup, but the backup will show you that why it was that amount. And we write on each invoice what was done at what location, and the total was 5,000 this month. But that
Okay,
wasn't
thank
just for that one unit.
Thank you. Then there's a constable bill for 80. Is that two people were evicted or what? Is that what that means?
Constable, that would be for serving notices, not for the physical eviction, but that'd be serving notices.
So is that like a first stage and they're not necessarily going to be evicted?
It's more like a second stage, but yes, they're not necessarily going to be evicted. That's true. When we do a 14-day notice to quit, those are served by the constable as well. And it could be the next step, but it's just the notice, the notice service. So they still have opportunity to maintain their tenancy.
Okay, then J. Brian Day Inc. mold testing on Seabed's Way for $900. Is that one unit? And what's the status there? I've been hearing some complaints.
It's that's I think 2 units. Gary, you want to take that?
Yeah, so we had several units complain that we went out and we did some mold testing at both of those units. And that was the tester requirements for J. Brian Day to come out and do their inspection. It's approximately $350 just to have them out. And then $50 per test we do, which equaled that $900 sum that you see. And both units came back with minimal to nothing at those units.
Okay, if that's your answer, I know that there are some serious complaints there, so. And then.
It's my answer, because that's,
Yeah, there have been complaints, but the findings don't back up the complaints. So we have a meeting with the Board of Health coming up in July to talk about it. Because there's some real consternation on my part about what's going on. But we've had multiple tests costing us probably close to $2,000 over the last couple of months. And we've only had one item that was a problem, and that was an obvious problem, and that was up at High Rock Homes, High Rock Estates. The others have been found to be, as Gary points out, minimal to no mold. Now, we have had a green patina, if you will, on some of the outside of the buildings. It has not been completely washed off at this point, but we're working on that. Which I know people seem to think is a mold. It is not a dangerous mold. It's not a dangerous item, and it is easily cleansable. We also had some, resident cleaning or the items not being cleaned or done properly, which caused a little bit of an issue, but no high mold count at all. No, not even close. So the Board of Health has recommended us to have these tests, and like I say, I think we're approaching over $2,000 in tests and getting no positive responses from the test.
Excuse me, my house is.
I'm sorry, there's no discussion.
My bathroom,
Excuse
which I
me.
already cleaned.
So the Board of Health is signing off on it?
They're writing it up so that we have to respond very quickly. And so we need to talk to the Board of Health about just what they're doing and what they're looking for and what their opinions are in cooperation with the professionals that we are hiring, spending a good amount of money on.
So what is the Board of Health requiring
My
us
whole
to do?
bathroom is still all
To do
open
this test.
where that mold is from.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, there's no discussion here.
Oh, I'm
except for the
sorry,
board.
I've been with this for
Turns are on. Okay,
inside my kitchen and everything. The guy that does any of those areas.
So
I'm living
one-
with this.
I guess one question I have is just, if it's not mold, then can anyone tell us what it is?
Oh, yeah, we have the name. We got it.
Okay.
But
Two
not the
different
name.
molds.
And so is it,
It's not,
I mean, I understand that it might not be mold in terms of like being unhealthy, but is it something that, and so therefore, might not have the same level of
there's not one
emphasis,
answer.
but it's
There's
not.
one answer.
I see.
No
It's
word
different.
to it.
Okay.
No one's
Okay,
done anything here about
okay. The
it.
next,
Go live in there. Have your kid go live in there, Steve.
another question. Morgan Brown and Joy LLP, general matters, $5,000. Can't it be a little more specific?
That is a lawsuit that was filed a few years ago. That's a legal
This is the
bill.
employee who was fired?
it's the same employee that we went to arbitration on, is that right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they filed the lawsuit.
Okay.
With us, with that.
Okay, thank you. And then Revolution Drain on Fairview Road is $1,017 or $1,100. They're just big numbers, so it catches my attention.
Gary, that's 111 Fairview. I'm assuming
again,
that
though,
was-
I don't know why it's labeled for one spot, but on the backup, it shows it's multiple locations that were serviced. And the backup is on that. I don't see the actual checks with the backup. Maybe you folks do, but on the backup, it'll show, I don't know why it's labeled just to one location. But it's not one location. There's multiple invoices.
Well, if it's not noted, it's gonna get my attention. So that's why I ask these questions.
So we'll have to reach out to Salim. Salim would have to however he writes it up on the warrant.
That would be good.
Yeah, this comes off the, our computer system, so we'll try to, adjust that somehow.
What it still looks like.
Those are my questions.
All right, I have a question, please.
So you got a question, Ed?
Yes. On page 9, we have an entry for work plan number 5001 DHCD for $110,000. Can we find out what that's all about?
Yeah, the work
That
plan
is-
is. Go ahead, Gary.
That is for the camera project over at Linden Chambers. That's partial payment from the fish project that we had out there. It's a capital project.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next part of your report, Steve.
Good. You should have received newsletters. Did you receive newsletters in your packets?
Yeah.
Tom said it, about it.
Any comments?
About the newsletters,
Yes.
are we making a comparison of them? Is that the idea?
No,
No,
just
just
comments.
any
It's a
comments.
quarterly newsletter that we have subscribed to. And we push information to them, they format it out and they fill in where we haven't. It's just kind of updated.
Oh, the reason
I have a
mentioned
question.
is we have 2 copies for June, July, and August. Are they both being sent out, or are we choosing a format, or what?
I don't know, if you look at them, one's for family and one's for seniors.
One's for
Quite a
family.
seniors?
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
okay,
I have a question.
I have a couple of comments. I think that one of our residents submitted some really nice pictures of one of a bird and one of a butterfly, and I think her name should be mentioned if she's the one I think it is who submitted it. She's a professional photographer and she should be credited, I think. I was pointing out it's great to name the staff, the members of the staff, and name resources and board members. I think that's all very, very helpful. I wish I'd done it when I was writing the newsletter. So yeah, they're all there. I like it. It's well done. I have a question though. I'm scheduling a concert for the 27th of July. I hadn't gotten it scheduled before this newsletter came out, but I'm going to need the help of the office to let the residents know about this event. And since this only comes out once every 3 months, it'll have to be something separate. So I'll
yeah,
need your-
we can still plan to do monthly updates as necessary. It won't look like that. It'll be one of our papers that we do in-house, but this quarterly will come out. The next one will come out September 1st, but we can do separate, monthly update if we need to, or for a special item, certainly.
Okay, or maybe even make flyers to
Yeah,
distribute,
we can do that too.
advertising
Yeah.
flyers. Yeah, I have to have the logo, the Mass Cultural Council logo on the flyer. It's a requirement. Okay, thank you.
Janice?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I had a couple of questions. And by the way, Steve, I like the new format. It's a great improvement from the old one. But I have a question about the notification on the monthly meetings for the board. Since it's going to change every month, and you probably just answered half of it. Will that go out as a robo as long as we're continuing hybrid? Because obviously the meeting ID is going to change monthly.
Right, it will go out as a robo, board meetings will go out as robos until there's a reason not to. But yeah, we did that today and yesterday. And while we're trying to cut down on them, board meetings certainly make the cut on that one. So.
Okay, thank you.
NHA YouTube channel.
The NHA YouTube channel, I kept that on the report. I know Reg has created one. I think if you go onto YouTube and search for NHA or Norwood Housing, Needham Housing Authority, you'll come up with a channel where your meetings are posted as well, and that's the videos of the meetings are posted.
Lyndon Chambers camera.
James.
Or Janice, you ever hand up?
Pardon me?
Oh, is that, did you just raise your hand or was that up from before?
Oh, no, I think that was up from before. Let me take that down.
Okay, great.
Did it go down?
Okay.
So the Lyndon Chambers camera project is all in place. We have seen it in operation, but as Gary and I went in to try to use it this week, it was not functioning. It's fairly complicated technology to get that from Lyndon Chambers to a computer, but it has to work, and there's a lot of money there. So they haven't received their money yet, and they won't until we get an answer. So they're due back in, if not tomorrow or early next week. The company's due back in to fix whatever is not going on. So, but then we will have the cameras working, security video available as we need it. We're not going to be sitting there watching it, but if something comes up, we'll be able to identify it.
So Steve, can I just add on that?
Yeah.
On that, it might have been a thing because we did have our IT guy in to do some work, and we're talking, it might have been a firewall that he set up that might have disabled that. So we got to also call out to the IT folks to see if that's what disabled the cameras.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Janice, you have your hand up?
Yes, my question is, when they do get up and running and when they are throughout the properties that they're going to be distributed to, who will be able to view? Will the residents have an opportunity? Will the board have an opportunity? I think that's a good question. So.
When they're available, they're only on a few PCs in our office, including the one in my office and the one in Gary's office and Cheryl's office. So and NADA. So there's 4 of them that would have access to it. Certainly, if the board wants to see it in operation, you're welcome to come in and we'll show it to you once we're working. And a resident, if they came in and wanted to see it, we're not hiding it. You can come see it, but it's not something, like I said, we're not monitoring it, 24/7. It's just if we have a report of something, we'll be able to go back and look at reported video. Or if we hear something going on at Lyndon Chambers, we could click in and look at some of the outside shots and see if we can see what's going on before someone gets up there.
And if a resident has a request or something that may come up, will they have an opportunity as well? Yeah.
It would depend on the request.
Well, that's not fair.
No, it's not open to it's not public viewing. Like I said, we're not monitoring it. And we're not going to get into neighborhood disputes that don't reach that level of police activity. And it's, the cameras are not pointed at individuals' homes, and if they are, and that's what we're trying to check, we're going to have them moved from there. So it's really for public areas.
Yeah, okay, I was not going there, Steve, sorry, I wasn't going there. I was just saying, if an opportunity or something had come up within a resident's occupancy, or would they have an opportunity if something, comes up? And I don't want to be specific. I mean, it would be obviously of a one-on-one nature.
Right.
Would they have an opportunity? I mean,
I would imagine if there's an issue that, there's a resident has a concern, that they would report it to Steve and his staff, and then that Steve and the staff would look into it. And if necessary, view the footage from that time frame.
Yeah.
Right, if they identify the time frame, and we look it up and there's something there, we can either share the information with them. We could share a snippet with them of the video potentially. Or if it's something that reaches, a police action, we'd involve the police. It's, like I said, we're not looking, just for an instance, if somebody were to.
Yeah, because after all, that is the purpose is, for the protection of the property and the residents, right?
That's correct, yeah.
And how
Okay.
long does the footage, is it stored?
I believe it's a 2-week storage.
2 weeks,
Storage, yeah.
Wow.
So,
move that up to 30 days. I don't know.
it may be, I'll have to look into that. This project was started before I got here, so I wasn't part of the specifics on it, so, it's now
Yeah.
just come to completion, and we'll know more about it.
Yeah, 30 days is kind of the norm, I would think. Okay, thank you.
Okay, TD Bank signature?
So TD Bank signature in our, searching through our accounts, getting ready to try to, change banks or put in a proposal to the board for changing banks. TD Bank, we contacted them and they're one that will be interested in offering us a proposal. The nice part about TD Bank is they're a stone's throw from the office, so if there was any deposits, they're literally less than 200 yards away. And they're very active in the public housing arena. But what we have is signature cards, because right now we have an account there with a balance, and we have nobody on the signature card. Nobody can move that money right now. So we filled out a form that we need live signatures on in order to have access to that account, even so that we can move it to a different account. So I think what I put in there is.
Moving right along.
And we also are trying to research as to what the money was put in there from and what it was originally for. We don't know that answer yet either. What program it's in. So for this meeting, I put down, for the signatures, put the chair and the vice chair and the treasurer, and that's Reggie and Eleanor and Ed and myself. And again, it's not a whole lot of money, but it's enough money that we want to be able to move it to a proper account going forward.
And no idea where it came from?
Not at this point. I'm sure it's in the paperwork somewhere, but we have to find that information. Nobody in the office knows where it came from or where it originally came from.
Well, if you can share the amount, some people might know.
And I will share that amount with commissioners tomorrow in an email rather than a public meeting at this point.
I have an idea, but if I don't know the amount, I can't say. So, yeah, email would be good.
Okay.
Okay, High Rock Homes audit update.
High Rock Homes audit, we don't have the final paperwork on it. There are going to be a couple of suggestions by the auditor that we do, as I indicated earlier. One is to re-procure our accounting services to include all the services we need for both High Rock Homes and other things that we may do that the housing has on the table going forward. They did find, as we found last month, there was a lack of reporting to one of our funding agencies on that the last audit report that was sent to them was from 2011 or 2010. That we have since cleared up. We had the audits and they're fine. It's just they hadn't been transmitted to the one of the lien holders, one of the loan agencies. So things like that need to be done. We can write that into a spec for accounting services to help us more with that on a more vigilant observation of those programs. So we'll have those, and there's no findings, nothing I don't think reached a finding, but there are gonna be suggestions or management, write-ups, and we'll get them next month, I expect.
Mission statement discussion.
Mission statement discussion, so in your packet, you received 2 mission statements that Ed has, we had discussed previously. And unfortunately, I didn't get this puts 3 together. One shows the current Needham Housing Authority mission statement. I think I included the current Norwood Housing Authority statement, just because that's one I'm familiar with. And the third was a discussion proposal. Again, this is to get the discussion started. I think it's mission statement, something that really takes some consideration and time, and wouldn't want to throw that and say, here it is. So this is really a statement by the board. Okay, John. Look at the index, right? 69 and 71.
I thought it was good, Steve, the Norwood add-on.
Did you get the Norwood?
We've got the Norwood one.
Oh, did you get all 3? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry, my printed copy didn't have it, so you have all 3. Okay. So I have. So what I would invite you to do is kind of, if you want to talk some about it now, and then plan on maybe next meeting or in a couple of meetings, actually do a vote on which one. I mean, you certainly can wordsmith it a little bit and, or add or subtract.
I think it's due for an update.
Yeah, it's always good to look at it. Actually, in the industry, it's recommended we look at it every year and just to kind of go over these things. So we just had our annual meeting. It's a good time to look at things like the mission statement. So it's up to the will of the board. Do you want to discuss it, or do you want to just think more, work more on it? You know, the mission statement shouldn't be too long, too lengthy. Because that kind of gets into policies, but it's a statement that you kind of create policies from or influences how you make or change other policies.
I might like to see something involving the resident associations, the housing authority's commitment to the resident association. If you want to discuss it, I'm opening the discussion right there. So
Yeah, I'm taking notes, so yeah.
Well, I like that in every one, it's promoting programs and resources to improve the quality of life for residents.
and I'd like to see a list of those programs as well.
Well, that wouldn't be in the mission statement, I don't think.
Yeah, that doesn't go in the
No, but
statement.
that could be an addendum.
Yeah, a mission statement doesn't, a mission statement is short and concise. The addendum you talk about is a different document you would create as to like what programs does the Needham Housing Authority offer, what programs are we looking at, things like that, but it wouldn't be part of the mission statement. Mission statement should be able to be printed on the wall of the office for people to come in and see it and kind of understand where we are, who we are.
Not like that message on the door.
I'll make
Wouldn't-
one correction, just because I'm a nudge this way, but it says for those that we serve, it should be those who we serve.
No, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to catch where you were.
So it's on the.
The last,
current
the last.
statement Where it says
On a positive those that,
who we serve.
who we serve. Oh, yeah, okay.
To Janice's point, maybe something that would say we encourage tenant organization participation or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had written that down on the bottom of my page already. Encourage resident association. So we'll work something in there. Great minds think alike.
Yeah, I think this would be good for us to think about and have a
Yeah.
discuss at a subsequent meeting. And maybe also get some feedback from the residents association.
Sure. Okay, so we'll tighten it up a little bit, and if anybody has any ideas that they want to shoot me an email, we'll do that, and then keep it on the agenda for next time for discussion. And as our chair recommends, maybe run it by the town association that we do have as well.
Okay, status update on the new executive director search.
So this status update is that the first round, and this report, I spoke with Rick Lico yesterday. The first round of advertisements have brought in actually one candidate, which he has not deemed to be someone that he'd feel comfortable bringing to the committee. So he's going to go to the selection committee with a recommendation of opening the time period through I think the end of July. He's going to do this in the next few days, so we'll see it when he gets it out to us. But and I think you mentioned recommending advertising more national avenues, such as the National Narrow newsletter and the FADA, which is Public Housing Administrators Association newsletter as well, or website.
And are there jobs posted yet for the resident service coordinator and the director of the after-school program?
The service coordinator has been posted for a while. Cheryl and I met with one applicant and meeting with another one probably towards the end of next week. She was a little tied up. Her daughter's getting married this week, so she asked if she could put it off for a couple of weeks. I don't know why marriage took that much. But just kidding. Wedding planning. Just kidding on that one. But they're busy with their wedding.
Yeah, I have a question on the resident service coordinator job. Steve, before you got here, the board had voted, but did not include when it came to the resolution of 42 and 28, Captain Robert Cook, regarding the resident service coordinator position. But there was a fundamental agreement that at 28, we would allow the board, there was a discussion, it wasn't voted on, but the board allowed a satellite position at 28, using the hours between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. for a satellite position to include research, conferences, whatever the like. And you know, I think that commitment should be honored, because it actually is our community space. That was our community space years ago. I know you know that. And I think the commitment should be honored. And if not, I will move that we motion for a vote and discussion.
Okay.
So what is, I'm a little unclear. Sorry, I'll take my
Yeah,
mouth.
no.
I'm a little unclear. So what is it? I'm remembering some of the discussions about 28 and 42, but I'm not remembering something about a resident coordinator. Although I do
Okay,
remember.
let me,
Oh, wait, just, but it's one thing. So, but I do remember about like having a place in the community room where that will have a, you know, a little office with the door that can close so that
the resident coordinator. or
There'd be
other-
separate
uh,
access entrances, yeah. So let
Yeah.
me bring you up to date a little bit, Eleanor. At our last meeting of the after-school program and the opening of the new space, Steve did not attend today's meeting, but on the last meeting, he announced a grant that came down the pike, which I knew about at the Mass Union Convention. And so I guess there's actually room for a full-time resident service coordinator and maybe a part-time one. And he wanted to insert the full-time one at 28 Captain Cook Drive, which the residents and I basically oppose, because, there was an agreement in principle before you got here, Steve, that we would offer them a satellite seat in there, guaranteed so many morning hours, not a full-time place. I mean, when they do get over to the preservation and redevelopment, as I understand it, there will be office space underneath and but whatever. So yeah, we don't want somebody full-time up there. That's just not within the realm of what we envisioned for our new community space.
Okay, let me correct you on a couple.
May I make an observation?
Sure.
If, I was just waiting to be recognized, sorry. I recall those conversations when Angie was trying to, she literally was trying to sell the idea to the board about having an off-site office. And a question came up, well, what about the residents that don't have transportation that need to meet with somebody from the administration? And Angie's answer was that she could send somebody over to meet with the resident in one of the community rooms. And that was, it was an agreement that it would be an as needed temporary situation. There really wasn't, as I recall, any guarantee about specific hours, but to have a permanent office set aside, taken out of the inventory of classroom space, especially for the after-school program, was not part of the original agreement. The original agreement was it would be an as needed, somebody from the administration would come over to a community room to meet with a resident. Was the original agreement, as I recall it.
So I'm just wondering if maybe we could just hold this discussion until we get to that part of the agenda about the restoration of 28 and 42.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, but let's discuss it then. So then anything else to say on the new executive director? Sorry.
No, thank you.
Okay. So status update, housing plan working group, Ed? Ed?
Oh, I'm
Did-
sorry,
did
I
you
didn't
have-
understand you.
So we're moving on to the next agenda item, which
Yeah,
is the
fine.
housing plan working group. And so it lists you as reporting on that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Okay. At the last meeting, I said that the housing plan working group was sending out a survey, trying to gather information from residents of Needham and people perhaps that even work here that don't live here. And so the results of that survey, I emailed out to everybody a couple days ago. And the major result that is being discussed right now is there's an MBTA initiative from the state that everybody needs to rezone locations within a half a mile of every transit stop. And what that would entail for Needham, the way we're being currently classified is we need to do rezoning that would allow multiple unit housing that developers could, or, you know, it would be up to them to develop it at some point in the future. But it would amount to an additional 2,000 multiple housing units within the town of Needham that would be accomplished by rezoning. And the initiative from the MBTA program is still in a draft form, so that's not finalized either. But Gene McKnight and Oscar Mertz are working very diligently to accomplish areas of rezoning that would allow for an additional 2,000 multiple housing units. And then there are some other less important initiatives in process that we don't need to talk about. So that's my report.
Great, thank you. And the report on the preservation and redevelopment initiative.
So I think the Cambridge report made the packet. We are meeting with them every other week via Zoom. We did miss a week because of we were waiting for a state process to happen, which has now happened, which moves the money that Representative Garlick arranged to be awarded to Needham through the ARPA fund, move it to the next project stage so that that will become accessible to us through their project management software, if you will, computer system. So that just happened just last Friday. We got informed that on Thursday, and now we can get on to the designer selection meeting for August, and that's when they will that's when they can approve a designer or welcome put out an ad for designer. It's kind of in the hands of DHCD at this point, but Cambridge is following it, we're following it, and so there was progress, which is, as in a lot of government things, it's slow, but it happens. And this was one that, you know, we would have liked to have had happen 6 or 8 weeks before, but it did finally come about. So that's moving along. The Dietz existing conditions report. Dietz has done existing condition reports on there are 3 different reports. They're quite lengthy, over 150 pages each, and they go into detail on the conditions of here at Seabeds, at Cooksbridge, and at Linden Chambers. And we're going through them. They're in the draft form right now, but I find that they've done quite a job. So we'll be meeting with Cambridge on that to go over those reports and get them finalized. If anybody's interested, I may be able to email them to you, but to print them, that's a lot of trees to go. But if you need it printed, we can do that too. Just they are very lengthy reports,
And
and they're not final.
and is there any summary you can give of just like the highest level?
I hope to give a summary, but
Okay,
I'm not,
but
we're
not
not
yet.
ready
Okay.
yet. Yeah.
So maybe at the
Summary,
next
I'm
meeting
saying.
then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now moving.
And that's the
okay,
two. That's the 2 bullet points. I cover them both and see the
Yeah.
update.
Okay, moving to internal initiatives. So report from the steering committee.
Eleanor, I had my hand up.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I just have a miscellaneous question. Whose idea was it to change the RAD to the Preservation and Redevelopment Initiative?
Instead of MRI to go to PRI? Is that
You
what
know,
you're asking?
the modernization and redevelopment.
Yeah, that was the chair's decision. And it was not, it's not meant to fool anybody. It's just meant that it's really more of a preservation of the affordable housing that we have at Linden Chambers. It's not just modernizing the buildings there, it actually would be a redevelopment. So it just kind of more accurately portrays it. And the other thing, the kind of the practical thing is there are several other entities that use the MRI acronym in housing.
Yeah.
So kind of it helps separate that too a little bit.
So it has nothing to do with the Community Preservation Act?
No,
Which-
not that the change did not happen, no. I mean, that
Okay,
might have been
good,
where
'cause-
the genesis of preservation came from, but it's it was really to get it away from MRI. And into, no, I mean, MRI they do for head examinations.
right.
and things.
So that was Reg's idea?
The chairman came up with the PRI.
Okay, I could talk to Reg on that. Thank you.
Okay.
I just thought we would have known about it before.
He did bring it up at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago. He brought it up. He was changing the name. But he wanted to wait till it got through town meeting before doing anything like that. So
Yeah, so I didn't recall that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so who's gonna present the report from the steering committee? Shannon,
start.
okay, thanks, Penny.
We had a meeting today, and so the update, we connected with Story Time, which is a nonprofit donations program. Lisa Venera, I'm saying her name wrong, but she's a real go-getter, and between her and one of the residents here at Rosemary Ridge, Sue Young, they've taken a real interest in the after-school program. At this point, we have 400 books, 17 boxes of books that are in excellent condition. We have art materials and notebooks and paper of all kinds. These were things that were going to be on my list of things needed to be purchased, but they've all been donated. There's even a small pinball machine which would sell secondhand for $250, which was given to us free, and we're not sure where we'll put that. And I submitted a list to Sandy Robinson of the things we need that could be supplied by the community council. So far, we have a set of dishes. Sue Young and a couple other people are donating silverware. The community council will give us cooking utensils, that sort of thing. So we're saving a bunch of money so far. And as a result, I haven't set up a budget list because I keep getting these things for free. And so within the next month, I'll certainly have a list of the things we haven't been able to acquire. And it's looking to be in good shape so far. Sue told me that Gary, I guess, told her that some of the tables, the table that is now has all the books on it, is actually a whiteboard surface, so that when kids are sitting at that table, they can do math problems or whatever and just erase them once they're finished. I have to look at that. I didn't know it was there in that form. It's not a table we've had before. So we've got a lot of equipment and things are going on very, very well.
Okay,
So just
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
follow up on that, Cheryl and I had an initial conversation with Margaret, who is the literacy coordinator at the Elliott School. And
At what school? I'm sorry.
the Elliott Elementary
Oh, yeah.
School.
Okay.
And they would very much like to meet with this group because they're very interested in being part of it. And for, a reason I would never have thought, but they, she talked about the teachers from the Elliott getting to know not only the kids, but the parents and the families of the kids because of things that, the kind of walls that go up between them or maybe just a distrust of I don't use these are my words, of the school, the teacher itself, herself. But Margaret is very excited about an opportunity and would like to speak with this small group. So I'd like to be able to set that up
Could
sometime.
you send me her information, her email address and her last name and all that?
I will do that, yeah. And
Good.
set up some days. She was very engaging and very, very concerned about our kids. So
Well, most of the kids who, I'd say all of the kids who are living at Captain Cook who are elementary school age go to the Elliott School, so the teachers should know them. And we did talk today about having some sort of a cookout or something celebratory when we open the program. And we could certainly include the teachers, and of course, the parents would be involved with that too. So that might be a good opportunity. Also, I'm getting another grant where there will be a musician who does a children's program. I don't think we'll have that money by September 1st, but sometime over the fall, we'll have a celebration with musical content to it.
Great.
Very good.
Okay, now we turn to restoration of.
I
community
had my
center.
hand up.
Oh, sorry, didn't see.
I didn't see it.
Okay, go ahead, Janice.
Hi, okay. You know, just to piggyback on Penny a little bit before I ask my question. I have found the teachers and the principals to be some of the most marvelous people in the Needham Elementary educational process. Especially I remember Miriam Cronish. I don't know any of you, if you would remember her, but the,
I do.
okay, she was such a wonderful person.
So,
I remember
You're
when I
dating
first-
yourself though, Janet. You're
Huh?
dating yourself though. You're dating yourself though.
That's okay. And Suzanne Wilcox, another great.
She's retired,
great-
you know.
Yeah, I know she is, but they both died. I don't even know if Miriam Cronish is here, but I know that they named the little concert hall, or the it's combination lunchroom auditorium. And she was a great piano player. Anyways, Steve, you weren't there at the meeting, and you were gonna generate a form for us to send out to specific
Get
donors. Yeah. We gotta get that on a roll. Have you come up with anything?
I don't have it for you, but I promise you would. We will.
Okay.
There's been a few avalanches this month.
Tonight being one of them. Okay, and the other thing is, to piggyback on Penny, yeah, with regard to, you know, the Elliott School wanting the parents to get involved, that has been a source that is not kind of right for the pickings. Some of the, we seem to have more immigrant parents down here than we've had in quite some time. But, and some of them have been here for quite some time, but still have that, I don't know if you want a standoffish attitude. And I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, when it comes to getting the kids enrolled in the after-school program. that Just like, Eleanor, you would know this, you have young school children, I think. When they go to school the first week, they come home with a huge packet of things to fill out. Am I right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so the same could be done for the kids at the after-school program. They can bring it home to the parents and let them fill it out and get themselves registered. I don't think we ever require any medical for any of the children. I presume that they do that at the school. And when we do have a rededication, reopening of our new community space, a lot of the parents do tend to come out for something like that. And, you know, they'd probably want to tour the place. So that might be an opportunity.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what Margaret was talking about, things like that too. They want
Yeah.
opportunity to meet the parents in a I don't want to say threatening, but in a
Formal or informal?
non-formal, yeah, an informal way.
Yeah, you break some bread, you know, that is the key.
Yeah.
And it's worked in the past down here, but it's very, very hard. I've been here 23 years, and I have seen people move in here and you didn't see them for 2 years. And then all of a sudden they decide, okay, it's a safe place. And they start letting their children out. But I hate to see it when they move in and they don't let the kids out. They just become isolated, and it's not a good thing. So that's why I'm here, to be here for the residents, to try and be a go-between. It's really tough when you move in here. I mean, Cheryl Gosman, she's on right now. As soon as I moved in here, I want to say it was less than 6 months, and she kidnapped me into getting a tenant association together. And
I coerced
did
you
it.
into becoming the treasurer of the tenants association. We needed a warm body. You were it.
And she was sitting right here where I am, I don't know, 15 years ago, but yeah, so if you can get people to, out into the neighborhood, and things like the rededication of the community space, and, put out a nice flyer, make it inviting and get people involved. And that makes for a better, safer community.
Mhm.
Okay,
Absolutely,
Sounds good.
absolutely does.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so restoration of the community room at 28.
Just an update on the community room. Gary, jump in if you wish, but the community side of it that had been previously subdivided has now been cleared out of the walls, and Gary's men have worked on that, and we'll be working again on it, I think, next week, if I'm not mistaken. Gary, you want
So yes,
Yeah.
on the office side, the after school, what's gonna be after school side has already been stripped, painted and cleaned. Just waiting on flooring. Flooring has been ordered, but we're gonna do the whole place in one shot. On the other side where it was like the offices, like the ED's office, Murray, all the walls have been taken down. We're working on all the electrical over there now. And the painter will be back on Monday to paint that side. Once he completes that, we'll do some trim work. All the flooring for that side has also been ordered. We're estimated to have this done by September 1. We look like we're gonna be a month ahead. We should be done probably by August 1st, if not sooner.
Yeah.
And we're also having that,
Done by August 1st, Gary.
and we're also gonna have the building sided also.
Great.
So that's where we're at this point.
So did we want to, well, so now to return to the topic that Janice had brought up earlier about the configuration of the space and the use of an office there.
So on what was our office, or the original office to that building, there is 4 separate offices and one little open area. So what I know Steve had talked about before, we were gonna take one of the offices for staff to do work there or meet with tenants, which would leave 3 offices in an open space for the after school program. And then the left-hand side of that building is just like a community room, similar to where you're at now. It's just a big open, it's gonna be left as a big open space.
And does any board members have any comments or
Yeah,
questions
the
about?
question is, the after-school program needs all the space it can get there. And so if there are to be meetings and using an office space, it needs to be before the after-school program, Monday through Thursday, before 3 o'clock.
Okay. So, but there's, I mean, but the idea would be that there would be a space where staff could come and meet and have a private meeting with residents about recertifications and the like in the space configuration. It's just a matter of the timing of that.
Yeah, not a full-time job, not a full-time position in that, it could be a satellite office, which was what we agreed to in principle when we were in first discussions. We were all in agreement to that. And of course,
Just
it's,
I just want to clarify something. I think you misunderstood. The full-time service coordinator for the federal is a grant program that we have to apply for. We have no guarantee of getting it for the first time. So that's not a reality at this point, and it was never going to be something where we put somebody down there and that's where they stay full-time. That's never been, that would not be my intention. I would certainly pass that forward. to
well,
whoever-
you said that at the last
We
meeting.
misunderstood you the
No,
last time.
It would be a full-time position for the federal properties, which includes High Rock Homes actually now. But that doesn't mean it would be necessarily taking up an office at 28 Robert Cook full-time, because the service coordinator, the major part of the work of the service coordinator has to do with the elderly and disabled. Because they're the ones that need it really pretty constantly, so that there'd be the opportunity to service not only the families, but the elderly here at Seabed's Way, which I will tell you, they certainly do need that type of.
Yeah,
service.
you're absolutely right. Needham, in general, is the population, trend is more elderly than anything here right now, especially in public.
Right. We're not far apart on that at all. I think we're more on the same page than you may believe, but that grant is not promised and it's not automatic. Many times the housing authority has to apply twice before they get it. And then you don't know when the next opportunity would be. So it's important that we put together a strong application now to see if we can get that funding. And then we'll deal with that, but it would not be to put somebody full-time at 28 Robert Cook. That would never have been my intention. And I don't think anybody in this position would look to do that. That's not, but it's a full-time job for the federal properties. That's what I meant to say. So they work out of the main office and also be able to come out on site and meet with folks, here at Seabeds. We might have to set up a private area where they can talk, but things like that we can make happen. That was not to take one of those offices. We do want to be able to use an office space there for private discussion before 3 o'clock. I don't foresee that as being a problem.
Okay, Steve, well, right now, we don't have a resident service coordinator. So,
That's right.
So could I ask a question?
Yes, okay.
In the past, the service coordinator has been part of the Needham Housing Authority budget. We haven't needed a grant for that. So
Right.
that sounds like an extra, maybe, or.
It's an additional, it would be an additional person, yeah. But that service coordinator that we currently budget, I would propose that you shift that over to state aided housing, because you're gonna have more state aided elderly disabled persons as well. And the Ross grant is strictly for federal properties. That's what it's funded for. So, yeah, you would have two. I left Norwood, we had 3.
Good.
And they're all busy.
Okay. And then the plan to return unit 42 to service.
That's it has to wait till we get 28 ready.
Yeah,
I know Gary had started moving some of there was some storage in there of maintenance stuff that they had used when they were repairing units at that end of the site. I believe that's been moved out. If it not, it's in the process, and there is storage in there for Penny and Janice to use with some of the items that are coming in.
and then the after school program draft budget, and Penny, I think you said that hadn't been prepared yet, is that right?
The what hasn't been prepared?
The reopening draft budget.
No, I haven't prepared it yet because I keep getting all this free stuff. But I am going to need to create a lot of, or recreate a lot of documents, and Steve and I will work that out. And there's a lot on a computer in there that they haven't been able to find, but I would be able to find. So we'll work that out.
Okay, great. And I mean, it seems to me that probably the most the biggest component of that budget would be funding the staff position.
The definition of the staff position and where it gets funded from.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so, and that would be something to, I think we've talked about this before, is touching base with employment council to determine, whether that person needs to be an employee of the housing authority. So anyway, you guys will work on that. Okay, paving project.
Seabed's Way and Captain Robert Cook Drive. Those are part of our capital fund. Gary, are we out on design on that? Is that additional paving?
We are not, no, we have to pick a engineer to do the scope and on that project.
Okay,
So that's the first step, and then they do the scope, and then after that, then procure for
get
the,
bids, right?
okay. And so the procuring for the engineers in process, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then Seabed's Captain Robert Cook CCTV system.
Same process we're in, we're picking the engineer to scope it. That will have to be budgeted by mid-September. So we're gonna be moving quickly on that going forward from here. Same thing, those. And it'll go out to bid. That's from a grant. That's actually not part of our capital projects. That was a grant that we applied for that we got. So it has nothing to do with actually our housing income or project money. It's not coming from anything like that. It was just a total grant.
All right. Any new business? Hearing none, I would say it is time to adjourn, and those of us who are interested in catching the Celtics game could go ahead and do that. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
So motion.
Okay.
Second.
And
Second.
We indicate that the time is 9:26 PM that we're adjourning.
Okay, good job, Eleanor. Yeah.
Very good job, Eleanor.
Thank you.
Okay, take care, everybody.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.